And now I'm going to make Jerry the host.
Sorry, my cat, for some reason, every time I get on Zoom, wants to be.
We don't care. We like cats. Okay. All right. Jerry, and this is a special Zoom. I thought about it last night. Bob, this is about you. We wanted to give you just a quick pre-Memorial Day shout out and honor your service to the country and to your team here with Neumi and Mary. Graciously, why don't we start out with Mary? Mary's, why don't you tell Mary, we know you got to get back to your counseling and things today, and you were able to jump on early. Why don't you share a little bit about your experience with Bob and whatever you want to talk about to honor Bob? Bob Steenlage is a West Point inductee into the West Point Hall of Fame for athletics this year and wrestling. He's been a beautiful friend of mine and mentor for over 20 years, and he's got a lot of friends. We're going to record this Zoom to honor Bob, and we'll be able to share it with other people. So Mary, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your relationship with Bob and whatever else is in your heart today.
Okay. Thanks for giving me this opportunity. Bob and I, we encountered each other on many levels. So I don't know whose memory's worse or better, I guess, Bob. I don't know. Many years? I don't know. Seems like it.
Wonderful years.
Bob, I saw that UWL had a speaker, and a Vietnam speaker, and it was Bob. And I had not known Bob. I just was in the audience, and he had a PowerPoint. Bobby was there, and I was just flabbergasted that his story is just basic, his life story with wrestling and PTSD and the spot. I mean, it was the whole package. But I had invited other Vietnam vets to come to see Bob, and that was sometime in the summer, I think, of 2017. So that seems like it was yesterday, but since then I've asked Bob to come and speak to other Vietnam groups with me, and he's done that many times. He's in fact, I think you've been to every single Vietnam group that I have to tell your story, and he's then became a personal friend of mine. We had a short time, I think. Thanks for breaking confidentiality, Bob, because I wasn't going to do it. That we were talking about his time in service, but it really, Bob figured it all out. So the last time he spoke was, I think, this spring. We invited at the Holman Legion. We invited young and older vets, for Vietnam vets, and he talked about his story. We were able to record it, right, Bob? It was recorded for posterity there and for helping other people. So that was like the final encounter. So Bob has helped me understand post-traumatic stress and what a good friend is, and as well as loyalty and trust. And is that enough for you, Bob? How much more do you want me to glow?
That's
Bob?
good. That's good. Like I tell Chris, I'm very modest.
Well, you are. And then, oh wow, look who's coming on. But I want to say one thing. If you want me to say anything about Neumi, I'm always doing and taking any kind of supplement. I'm now eating seaweed to help my iodine level, and taking Neumi, anything to keep my brain working with the VA and helping veterans with post-traumatic stress and readjustment issues. So Bob hooked me up with that, and that's my story. Okay, Bob. Thank you very much.
Mary has a big heart, and she's helped many veterans and just can't sit still. And she makes me cry a lot because of her heart.
Aw. Well, Bob, thank you so much, Mary. I know Mary texted me. She said, I want to jump up, but I got an appointment. Can I push it back? I said, well, we're going to have you on first. And that helped. She said, yes. So, Mary, you're welcome to jump off and help.
Well, I told him 15 minutes. So I'm going to keep my last 8 minutes on this session.
All right. Okay? Well, we'll move on.
Stuff about Bob.
Yeah, all right, Bob. Why don't we give it to our leader for Neumi and building an international team around the world, Dr. Jerry Shaw. It's an old friend of mine from Colorado, and I invited Mary and your dad on. I don't know if he got the text or not because it was so late last night. This is so spur of the moment. Thank you so much, Lucy, for jumping on. Your friend Barbara over there, I think, in Germany. So, Jerry, you and Bob and Mary and your dad have a lot in common. So why don't you say a little something about Bob? Because I'm kind of tongue tied here.
Yeah, it's true. We have kind of a different sort of bond because we were both wrestlers in high school and college. and my father was a wrestling coach. And he was a very successful wrestling coach. It was a small school. And it was the only time that school was ever placed in the top 10 in the state. This was back when all of the schools were together. It wasn't like single A, double A, triple A, 5A. They break them down into school size. This is when they were all together. And my dad was coaching. He had, I believe it was 3 state champions that one year, and they placed third in the state of Colorado. So he was kind of really famous in that area. And I think he and Bob, you connected maybe before Bob and I did. And my dad, of course, was my mentor, and I always wanted to wrestle because, my dad, that was what he did. And so I had a pretty good career, but I always tended, I don't want to make this about me, but I just want to quickly say that I tended to be good, but not the best. Like in junior high, I would play second because it would be the coach's son of this other school that would beat me. And I remember this, we'd moved to a bigger city, and my father had apparently heard that I was going to meet this guy that had never been beaten. And I was weighing in, and Bob, when you go into the weigh-in and you
Right.
talk a little bit, and they ask, what weight, and back then it was like I was a ninth grade. I was ninth grade, and I was like 98 pounds or something like that, just a little guy. So I said that, and they said, ooh, they said, we feel sorry for you. That's Winston Johnson. He's never been beaten. And so, of course, you're beaten already. Well, my father must have heard about it because he was there at the meet, as he usually was. And he comes down as you're warming up behind the chairs. And he comes down and he says, if you truly can picture yourself having won, and he knew I was pretty good, but he knew I was already beaten because it was kind of like the coach's son from those old schools. So he must have felt this. So he said, if you believe you've already won and you can picture it, even your hand being raised at the end, and you can picture it perfectly, he said, no one could beat you. And I went out and I beat that guy that day, the first loss of his whole career. And so that kind of began something for me because we met again in the championship match of the at the end of the whole thing. And we tied at the end of the match. But then we went into overtime, and because I was the aggressor, I won again. And it was really because of my dad and his instilling in me that, and I went on to play second in state and sixth in the NJCAA, the National College Championships of the Junior College Championships. And really it was because of my dad. But anyway, so I had this thing in common with Bob. And so we met a couple of times over the years, but one of those times we were in Hawaii. And Bob remembers this well, I know.
My daughter is still after me for this.
She shouldn't laugh at you because here we go. Here's 2 wrestlers and they meet each other and slap each other on the back. And then you get in the wrestler's stance, and so we're kind of like this. And then I go into this fireman's carry and I take Bob down. And he was kind of embarrassed about it because his daughters harassed him because he's a 4-time state champion. I think a national champion also, all of these accolades in the Hall of Fame, all of this. But Bob, no one could stop my fireman's carry. The interesting thing is I placed second in Colorado only because I was undefeated all year, but that guy got a single leg on me. Bob understands this. And I countered it with a whizzer and forced us out of bounds, but the ref gave him 2 points because I forced us out of bounds. I hadn't lost a takedown in 3 years. So I was really good on my feet. So you shouldn't be embarrassed. Anyway,
Oh my God.
I ended up losing that match because I think I got weird in my head. The whole thing my dad taught me I began to have the doubts, that I lost the takedown, and it ended up causing my defeat. But I just want to say that wrestlers have that special bond. I always knew it because, of course, we hang out with one another, and because it's such an individualized sport, it's all on you. And it's you can't blame anybody if you have an off day. You have to take responsibility for it, and whether you win or lose, it's on you. And I think it forges something special in that person. And Bob obviously has that special thing, that's that intangible thing that is hard to get in this world. And I think it's partly due to the fact that wrestling is a very tough sport. And as I said, you're the one that's accountable. And that's why Bob has become such a great person, a great network marketer, and championing for the veterans that have PTSD, because he saw some terrible things in war in Vietnam. And he's helped a lot of people, but it comes from that place, from that heart, and from that knowing, like my father was able to instill in me all those years ago. But so we kind of share that special bond, and I've always really, really appreciated you, Bob, and for all the great things that you do, not only in our profession, but for the entire world of veterans and people that have sacrificed so much. So thank you from the bottom of my heart.
All right.
Thank you, Dr. Jerry. I'm lost for words.
Well, you're truly great, and we appreciate you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Jerry, hang out for a second if you can, because Bob, I'm gonna have you share a little bit about your testimonial, the Agent Orange and that kind of thing, and maybe a little bit about your your coaching. I know one thing I'll never forget about you is just waking up each day and being grateful, or any situation, just be grateful because you're still alive. And now, Bob, I first met Bob I think it was an event with the Goji Juice in Pittsburgh when we were first getting going, Jerry, remember? And Bob it was when we were first getting rolling, and Bob had reached, I think it was ambassador, 20,000 points, which he's been able to do that here in Neumi now. And maybe not as quick, but that was 20 some years. I don't know how many years ago that was. It's 20, but anyhow, but Bob got up on stage with his overalls on, and his Wisconsin outfit. And I looked up and I said, I was pretty young in my 30s. And if Bob can do it, I can do it. I was joking. If that guy can do it, I can do it. And,
that was the whole point of the overalls.
And Jerry and I and a lot of other people, Bob, we were cross-line for Bob, so he was another thing, but we became great friends. And I've stopped in Wisconsin. I'm away from New York to back to Colorado a few times. And he always then, lets me stay at the house and everything, and see his apple orchard. And we've just stayed friends. We talk maybe a couple times a year. And I sent Bob a sample of the when these first came out. And I might have talked to Bob about network marketing or something other over the years, but he's never really been. I'm done. I got my apple orchard. I got my grandkids. I think it's 10 grandkids. Don't want the responsibility of building a team again. That kind of thing. But thank you for calling. But this time, right, Jerry? I sent the sample. I said, just try this product, and it really was about the product. And it's still that way for me. I'm really not that. I'm getting more kind of getting the taste of going diamond and that kind of thing, but it really wasn't about that for me. It was really the fun of just sharing it but remember, Jerry, when Bob first got the sample, and he and Bobby were so worried, because you've mentioned that about maybe 20% of the people that we share, maybe it's a little more than that, feel it right away. And Bob felt it immediately, and he was like so concerned about running out of this little sample that he and Bobby were sharing. Remember that? Oh, I'm gonna run out. How quick can I get this order? And I got to get more of this stuff. And because it's helping, because it really helps I think your counselor had to leave, but with the sense of wellness, and the well-being in the head, that clarity of thinking, and I think that's one of the things I noticed right away on it. So anyway, so Bob got in, and then he goes, I can't not share this with people because of the product, and it's still, I think, that way. So that's really exciting, Bob, and I really want to honor you for your service. Bob shared with me a couple of the letters that these 5-star generals, I mean, these are people that are, that could call the president, whoever it is at the time, and just, get the phone call. And I mean, these are high level people that Bob's getting these letters of recommendation for the Hall of Fame. And Bob, I don't know, I mean, the one where you were right out of, when you graduated West Point, and they, after flight school, they sent you over to be a leader of a platoon. In your first 5 days, the Viet Cong came over the fence. We took about 5 of your men, and you fought them off, and spent, I don't know how many more years over there. But thank you so much for your service.
Yeah.
And that's all I got. And there's Carol. So anyways, that's all from me, Bob. And thank you so much for being my friend. And now that Bob is tenacious about sharing this thing. We had to calm him down, right, Jerry? Because he was emailing all these generals and stuff.
Right.
Maybe you should not do that right now. Maybe you should give him a call or set up. But Bob, because of Bob, he's gotten the word out, and there's teams on here with Lucy and Carol and Barbara in Germany, and because of Bob's efforts, it's going to help so many people around the world, in Africa and all over the place. It's been such a short notice, so I'm glad you guys could jump on. But it's just incredible. It just pinched me, and you've gotten my passion back for this industry and what teamwork and camaraderie is like, and working with Jerry again. So that's it. I'm done. And I wanted to get this out because Bob had to leave Friday, so it was real short notice. But it's Memorial Day weekend, and I wanted to do this little surprise kind of like a birthday surprise. Bob didn't know we were doing this until he just jumped on. So I'll just pass it around now. If anybody wants to share their Neumi story or anything, it is being recorded, and we'll just go from there. Jerry, or
I'd like to just
Bob, yeah. Why don't you say?
I just like to, very seldom am I lost for words, but this is one of those times. It moves me very much. And I'll just say I've had horrible nightmares since 1968. And my VA doctor, when I had my semi-annual checkup a week ago, confirmed that when I told him that I'm not having as many dreams, nightmares now, that it was definitely Neumi. He's one of the few doctors that knew about Neumi because he studied it on his own when he was in medical school.
About glutathione.
And for years, when I go to bed at night, I have these nightmares. Either I fly out of bed, I've never hit Bobby or anything during that time, but just horrible nightmares. And I used to have to put a sock on my right foot because when I have a nightmare, for some reason, my right foot would go behind my left ankle. And no matter how I cut my toenails, it would start scraping up and down on my left ankle and get blood on the sheet. So I always had to wear sock. And when I went in last week for my VA checkup, Dr. Loker, I told him that I forgot to put my sock on 2 weeks, or it was 2 weeks ago then, and I haven't worn it since, and I haven't had any session of scraping my left ankle, and have had hardly any nightmares, and asked him if glutathione could be responsible for that, and he said absolutely, because it goes into your cells. So this all goes back to the great heart that Chris and Jerry have, and remembering me, and even though they knew that I didn't want to do networking again, and I couldn't stop telling people about it. And now look all the wonderful people that we have met. And Carol and I have had so many sharing experiences of laughter and remembering wonderful times as we grew up, and I'm looking forward to getting to know Lucy and Barbara, those I haven't met yet. But Bobby will be 82 next month. We'll be married 58 years. I'm 79, she'll be 82. And we both benefited so much from glutathione. But the key to this business and life is having a heart and caring about other people. If you have that, everything else will fall into place. So this is a total surprise. I couldn't figure out why Chris was having this special call, because actually you have to leave on Fridays, but I actually have to leave in about an hour. And I'm sure thankful for this, Chris. Thank you for coming on, everyone. Thank you.
Yeah, Bob has to leave an hour from now, so thank you.
That's
Barbara.
okay.
Barbara, we haven't heard from you then, all the way from Germany. What time is it over there? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
This is a surprise call for me, so I'm actually honored to be on it. I'm very new to Neumi. I've only joined middle of March. So Bob, you sound like a wonderful man.
Thank you.
Can even get me a bit emotional. But really, I think I'm going to absolutely love this journey, and I love what you've just said. It's about caring for people, and everything else will fall into place. So I am absolutely honored to be part of this company, and everybody that I've come across so far it's just blown me away. The support, Dr. Jerry, your calls are absolutely incredible. So I'm really going to enjoy this. So thank you very much.
All right, thank you. I want to go visit Germany. That'd be a lot of fun, huh, Jerry? How
Well,
about-
I'm actually from
you?
South Africa.
May I tell a quick Germany story?
Yes.
Between my sophomore and junior year at West Point, we did training in Germany, and we took two of my classmates and I took vacation. Anyway, we're going down the Autobahn in 1964, and this car stopped right in front of us. We're in a Volkswagen. I'm driving, and we rear-ended it going about 80 miles an hour.
Ooh.
And my passenger flew through the windshield and was cut up really bad, and the other person in the back seat, and the steering wheel went into my chest, and could have been easily been killed. But it was the summer after President Kennedy was killed. Now, when you hit somebody from the rear, you're in trouble with the German government. Then you're in trouble with the Army, U.S. government, and then I'm in trouble at West Point. And here, this actually happened. They loved President Kennedy so much. All they said is, President Kennedy, President Kennedy, President Kennedy, let him go, let him go, let him go. No one, I never got reprimanded by the German government, the U.S. Army, or at West Point, it's a total miracle. I'll never forget that.
Wow, I never heard that one.
Yeah.
Lucy, anybody else want to share? Carol?
I just wanted to say that it's a huge pleasure and honor of meeting you and learning about you, Bob. Thank you so much for being a part of why I'm here. And I've been also in the company since end of March, not too long, but I love the product. I have an amazing story also. I have, when it comes to why I love the product, it gives me energy throughout the day. I feel so much more productive. I sleep better. I see better. So I see the difference on my skin. So I'm feeling it. I love this team. I love the support that we have on this team. I love this journey as well. So thank you. It's beautiful. I'm just excited to be here.
Well, we've been following your career ever since you came in. So I know more about you than you think. It's all good. Thank you for everything. Thank you. Who's that smiling lady there?
Bob, you're a little loud. Back off from the microphone a little bit, Bob.
Hi, Bob.
Carol.
If there's anybody here that hasn't read Bob's book, they should. Well, of course, I'm also a reader, but I couldn't put it down. It was so late already, and because my husband had to sleep and turn off the lights, I did it with my flashlight. I just read through the whole thing. I couldn't put it down. It was just so amazing, and you wonder how one person can endure all that. It's not too well seen by others, but the agony that he went through emotionally from when he was a child is just so inspiring to know that, hey, you can survive. So
Well, thank you.
thank you
Anybody
so much,
wants a
Bob.
book, I'll send it off.
Yeah, I put your website up there. Can people get your book from your website? Is it bobsteenlage.com?
Right. But if they just call me or text me or something, I'll send it out right away and write something in it. So
I
if
know.
anybody wants one, I'll send it out next week right away.
He gave one to my kids when they were only 9 and 11. They're 28 and 30 now at a
Wow.
conference, and signed the
Yeah.
book for them. So Bob, I just wanted to do this real quick for you. I know you need to get on the road. We're just coming up in 30 minutes. God bless you. God bless you for your service and helping the veterans and yourself. And you've really touched all of us. And
I love you, Bob.
Thank you. I love you all too. And I appreciate a copy of this, and God's in charge. And that's why we're all together today.
Yes. I
Oh,
love you. You're my
Well-
favorite human being.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for me being able to be on this call. Best of luck to you, Bob.
yeah.
Thank
You're a wonderful man.
And thanks, you guys, for getting this out in such a short notice. I appreciate you being on here, and have a great Memorial Day weekend, Bob. We'll
Thank
see
you.
you Tuesday. Let's finish up the month strong, guys. And Jerry, we got to start planning some international travel here, I think.
Chris,
Love it.
thank you.
You want to close it out, Bob, or Jerry? You want to give us any last?
I just want to thank you for putting this together, because it was brilliant to remember Bob and everything that he's done and what he's meant for so many people, and to have a special call for him. My only regret is that we didn't get it out sooner and that more people were here, but we'll get the recording out.
Yeah.
And we're just beginning here to change lives. And it's a culmination for all of us, the legacy that we started years ago. And we've come back together for a reason. And there's new people in our lives for a reason, like Carol and Lucy and Barbara and many others. So thank you all. God bless.
Thank you.
You're the best. Thanks, Bob. Say
Thank
hi
you
to
very
Bobby
much.
for us. Big hugs to Bobby.
Yes, we'll do.
Safe travels.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Be
Thank you,
safe, buddy.
everybody.
Again, thanks
Thank
a
you.
lot.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Jerry, how do I make sure? I don't want to mess this up.
Even if we just drop the recording.
It'll record it? Okay. All right. Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.